Cardano's ADA continues to fall down. A lot of this is around the idea, and the pretty dumb one in my opinion, that Cardano ADA is a security. Nonetheless, we're going to jump down into the technical analysis for Cardano ADA and take a look at what has been going on with the price action and where I think things might actually slow down and reverse. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord though, guys, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and it is the first place that we go to notify you of everything that is going on in the crypto space. Let's jump right down into this video though for ADA. So here we have Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT on the 1 hour chart. Binance is the data source, which feels almost very fitting. So let's take a look, right? We are in a bearish structure. I think that comes as no surprise here. We have our change of characteristic showing us in a bearish state of play. Now we have got a fair value gap that was left behind up here. This is on the initial kind of push to the downside. Basically a lot of selling pressure on the high side, creating an imbalance in the order books, and it wasn't until this low area just here that price started to stabilize a little bit. Okay, and as we can kind of see, this gap was left behind. Price normally likes to come and fill these gaps at some point. This one might be around for a little while, however, so just be a little bit cautious here. We can see that we have a strong high. We're not likely to break this anytime soon, and we've got a weak low where we keep pushing down into new lows. So yeah, we're essentially going down deeper. We can see that we have equilibrium that is basically 50% fib levels between those things, and it is quite a bit of a stretch to get there at the moment as well. So a little bit of caution with that. We are below the 200 EMA, below the 50 EMA, and we've got a lot of downward pressure. Okay, now we are oversold on the 1 day time frame, the 8 hour time frame, the 1 hour time frame, as you can kind of see down here, at least on the OHLC4 settings of the stochastic RSI. This essentially is going to give us an idea that we should be a bounce at some point, right? We're going to jump down into that in a second. I think there's going to be a small bounce on the 1 hour, then a little bit deeper, and then probably a more significant bounce. And that's more to do with Elliott wave theory than it is to to do with our smart money concepts that we see here. There are a few smaller issues going on. We can see that there's really an undecided market in these little areas, as in we can see these little tiny changes of character going on. We can see change of character to bullish, then to bearish, then to bullish again, then to bearish, then to bullish again, then to bearish. It's basically just choppy, right? And so we really only want to focus in on those bigger labels rather than the smaller labels. Those small labels are not going to help us on this particular time frame. So we want to be a little bit aware that, okay, things are not looking brilliant for Cardano's ADA from a price appreciation point of view. And that's okay, because I'm not overly too fussed about the dollar value of these assets right now, or the dollar value of my portfolio right now. And I've been saying this for quite some time. Essentially, in these bearish times, the only thing that matters are the number of coins and the numbers of tokens that you have. They need to be increasing as time progresses, not decreasing. And the dollar value can decrease as much as it wants. I'm not too fussed about that. All I want to do is build a very, very strong position, and i.e. the number of coins that I have or tokens that I have of a project, and I want to see that growing over time. I don't want to see that diminishing. The dollar value can diminish as much as it wants in the bear market. I'm not too fussed about that. And so when we start flipping our perspective and stop looking at things from a dollar value point of view, and we only look at things from a number of coins and numbers of tokens point of view, then the further that the price action goes down, the more coins we can buy, or the more tokens we can buy, the bigger the portfolio will be in the longer run. And so if we flip our thinking, this is a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity if we get into better positions on Cardano's ADA. Okay, so we can see prices pushing down. We're looking at probably bordering 30 cents again. And that's okay. That is an opportunity should you choose to acknowledge it as such. Okay, and that is a pretty decent thing to be thinking, in my opinion. But we want to understand, okay, well, where do we buy? How low do we buy? How low is Cardano ADA going to go? And what kind of opportunity is presented to us here? Well, we can answer that question in a few different ways, right? We can take a look at different time frames. We can take a look at kind of speculate onto where we think things are going. And we can obviously take a look at current structures, right? So we're going to start with that. If we come on over into our Elliott wave theory structure, you can see that we were tracking this idea of a a 5-wave count coming down here. But I think things have changed here a little bit. And if I go ahead and remove our ABC, because that's not going to be the best way of describing what's occurred, and I am going to remove this bigger move structure here as well. I'm just going to leave that 5-wave because I do think that 5-wave there is actually correct. I'm going to remove that yellow label. So we have like a 5-wave structure right in here. We also see a very steep move to the downside over this side as well. But that's also really important that we acknowledge that in a second, because over this side we can see we go 1, 2, and I'm going to say that we probably have ourselves here it's an expanding diagonal in my opinion. This is one of those kind of diagonals that expands out. Small wave 1, big wave 5, that kind of situation right there. You can kind of see it if you draw the trend lines on a little bit easier. Then very choppy movement overall, but nonetheless it is there. This basically allows me to look at this as a zigzag pattern in itself. So we go A up here for B, down here for C. Then we bounce. Now this is where I was originally looking at this as a wave 4, but I'm starting to think actually this might be a zigzag, this is a reset, and then here we have another zigzag. Okay, and if that's the case, then we can be predictive over, and I could be wrong on this because it can be an overextension. I just think it's a little bit extreme for the overextension. But we're talking about coming down to 29 to 28 cent. Okay, so if we are to kind of come down in this way, then this is kind of where the price action should kind of be approaching, in my opinion, under the structure that we currently see. Now, it can, of course, fall short, and it probably will, because we can see here we'd have this kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure, and we're probably not going to be able to come down here without some kind of overextension on one of these, and I'm not expecting it to be a big overextension at this point. So we might fall short of this target. We might find that 30 cent actually holds quite well. If we look back here, we could see all of this range at around 30 cent being the area of support. So I will actually go ahead and draw in a little yellow box here. And for this, I'm just going to zoom in. Apologies for all the movements here. I just want to make sure that I find the right area for this, because I think this is a good place, but I want to kind of give it a little bit of room for error in places. I think I might take it there. That seems actually a pretty reasonable spot. Okay, and then obviously I'll anchor in on the low side of this wick. There we go. Okay, so that becomes our little range, I think, of where we might find support on this next journey, right? So a bit of a double bottom kind of scenario. And so that one there actually comes in at the 29.76 to 30.47. And I think that would be the area. So although we could see a 1-to-1 taking us down a little bit deeper towards this range, as I said, the 1 to the 1.236 at 29 to 28 cent, I think the most likely scenario is actually we find support at around the 29.76 to 30.47. Somewhere in here is probably where we're going to find the support levels where we see the reversals. Now, as you can kind of see, we have this zigzag, and this then would become a double zigzag in itself, and that could be really interesting for us because we could start to think about these things maybe nesting down in a really remarkable way. So if we start to think about that high that we had at 46, we come down in A, we come up into B, we come down here into C, and if we start to think about that and we start to actually measure out that distance, I think we're going to find ourselves with some consistencies. Okay, so if we bring this across and we find that high, I know it's up there. Oh, it's going to be a little bit fiddly. Let me zoom in. That's the thing with these wicks. You have to get them exactly where I need them. There we go. Okay, let's bring this over to our yellow box area where we only barely tapped into it. Make this nice and big so we can see the wicks in question. It's this one right up here, and I'm going to go ahead and put this line right there, and I'm going to check. So this high was 38.63, and I've got my chart, my fib levels on 38.63. That means that we can be predictive over where our 1-to-1 ratio is. I'm going to just delete this fib off so we don't have the numbers, and we can actually see it comes down right in that one, to be fair. So it is actually predicting slightly deeper. Let's go ahead and pull that in. So that would actually be more between 27.29 and 29.16. I wasn't expecting that. I was actually expecting it to be a little bit higher. So it does actually say that all this range is going to be the area of interest. Support to be found briefly at around 29 to 30, but likelihood maybe we do have to see 27 to 29 cent in order to complete that structure. 786 fib levels could be all interesting levels of support, but for now, as you can kind of see, a big 3-wave drop taking us down lower, and this is the opportunity, because it's here where I think you're going to get that next move. So we can be a little bit optimistic and maybe try to come in early. We can assess the situation at all of these kind of key levels, but somewhere in this range, we're likely to see a move to the upside of significance. Okay, I'm not talking about these little kind of tiny movements here. I would be talking about a bigger kind of, you know, 40% move, a big move, and the kind of move that you're not going to come up higher than the local high probably, but the kind of move that is going to make significant gains using leverage, right? You could make a significant amount of additional revenue if you are a leverage trader. And if you are a leverage trader or even a spot trader and just looking at doing some spot trading, let me know what exchanges you're using. I'm using 𝗕𝗬𝗪 for everything at the moment, from spot to leverage, with 𝗕𝗪𝗪 and 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 mixed in, depending on the type of asset that I'm looking to acquire. Obviously, we are affiliated with actually 𝗕𝗪𝗪 and 𝗕𝗬𝗪, Bybit as well. All links are in the description below, but if you are looking for a new exchange, my go-to at the moment is 𝗕𝗬𝗪. I find the platform incredibly user-friendly. There's lots of different trading pairs that do great spot trading with good fees, along with leverage trading at good fees as well. So if you're looking for a new exchange, why not check those out, linked in the description below. My personal favorite at the moment is 𝗕𝗬𝗪, although 𝗕𝗪𝗪 is right up there as well. So yeah, I think for the most part, an opportunity is coming, and I think it's going to be a pretty significant one here for Cardano's ADA. But you know, that's the opportunity that is presented as we see the market bleed. And I think even if we do have this significant move to the upside up here, then I do think there's still going to be room to come on down later. I don't think it's necessarily over with just yet. We'll have to see how that kind of plays out. Now, I'm going to leave this video right there. It's probably worth noting I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot give you financial advice. All I can do is share my personal thoughts and opinions on the data as I see it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Hit the like button if you found it useful and informative. If you're new, subscribe, join us down in Discord, and guys, I'll catch you all in the next one.
We are not financial advisors, and none of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.